Assalamu alaikum students, here is Usama Tahir and you're watching Learn English with Usama Tahir. I hope you guys are fine and enjoying my new videos as I have started uploading my videos on regular basis. I told you that I promise that I will do it further on regular basis. So today we will be talking about total physical response. What is total physical response? It is the method of language teaching or the second language teaching method like the other methods we discussed earlier. And we have started the series of lectures on second language acquisition or the subject called language learning methods and approaches. All of these things are taught in that subject in this book. So I am making videos for my playlist, for completing my playlist, where I will upload all of the language teaching methods, all of the language second language teaching methods. Okay, this method is called total physical response. And what is it? Let's move forward. Stick to its historical background. James Asher, an American professor of psychology at St. John's State University. It was this method, total physical response. This method was made by James Asher. Who was James Asher? He was an American professor of psychology at St. John's State University. He was, more of the psychological mind than the linguist. So most of these theories are made by the psychologist, or even most of the language learning theories were introduced after the works of the psychology, because psychology has so much conducted research over the language acquisition, habit formation, etc, etc. So it was originated in 1960s. Most of the methods we have here are like the production of 19th century most of the time, and based on the theory that memory is enhanced by associating with physical movements. Okay, so this theory stresses upon the physical movement and the language learning, like how we respond to the input, how we respond to the sentences. For example, someone says to us, close the door. We physically respond to his or her command. When someone say give me that spoon, we respond physically to the command. So it helps and boosts up our vocabulary and language learning. So this theory based on this opinion that memory is enhanced, like the James Usher considering memory like the language acquisition, enhanced by associating with physical movements. We physically move on such inputs, on such sentences. Next is we have total physical response takes child first language learning as a model, like a child reacts to the commands of his parents not verbally but physically. You know what? Child is unable to respond to his parents' commands verbally, but he reacts to them physically. For example, father says to his son, "Get up, son." The child gets up. When a father or mother says, "Give me that spoon," or "Give that spoon to your younger brother," he gives it to them, like with the gestures. Parents help their kids with the gestures, like give, they will provide that gesture or point the spoon and say, "Give that spoon to me." There would be sign language involvement as well, but they'll respond to it physically. So this is how the students are going to learn the second language, by the physical movement support like the first language learning. It stresses the receptive skills should be taught first. So this method is totally resembling with the language learning of the child. So we have two skills, the productive skills and the receptive skills. What are the receptive skills? Like reading and listening are the receptive skills. Reading and listening. Okay. And what are the productive skills? Speaking and writing. Okay, we divide them in two sets, right? And now we say receptive skills should be taught first, like students are supposed to read and listen and not supposed to speak or write first. They are going to read a lot, they are going to listen a lot, their receptive skills will be activated, then they will start to produce in the manner of speaking or writing. Next we have, for example, open the door. There is an example of you can say that activity that could be performed in the classroom, like the teacher can say open the door, and the child will respond to it physically. Look at mama, look at mama. For example, this is an example from the child language learning, from the first child language learning or the first language learning. Like the sentences, parents say, look, the father can say to the child, "Look at mama." give me ball. There would be gestures involved in those sentences as well, like the father is pointing his hand towards him, like give me ball. Me, he's pointing it could be pointing his finger on his chest, something like that. Eat this food. The father can be saying that sentence by pointing towards the food and making the sign of eating by joining his fingers. Kiss your mama. This can be sentence. Okay, definition. Let's move forward to further formally define this total physical response. Total physical response is a method of teaching language or vocabulary concept by using physical movement to react to verbal input. So input would be verbal and the response would be physical. This is going to be happening in that total physical response. The process mimics the way what infants learn their first language. So this process is totally imitating the way the infants learn their first language, and it reduces students inhibition and lower stress. Like there is no stress in the first language learning, similarly there would be no stress in the second language learning by using that methodology. The purpose of total physical response is to create a brain link between speech and action. Like a child has a brain link between the speech of his parents, guardians, and the action he or she performs to boost language and vocabulary. So, similarly, a child learns language. So, similarly, we are going to teach the second language by creating link between the brain and the physical movements, or the speech and action relationship would be there. If you have any question, you can ask me in the comment section. There is not such time because the methods are quite getting lengthy now, and I have no enough time to explain each and every point in so much detail. I try my best. I briefly explain few points. You can ask me in the comment section as well. Principles. What are the few principles of that method? Is oral abilities are given importance. Like a child, child oral abilities are given importance, and the listening abilities. Oral and the listening. Sorry, I forgot to write it down. Listening abilities. Oral abilities and listening abilities are given importance. For example, the child would comprehend the speech orally, like in the oral manner, and he will listen to it, and he will start to speak in the advanced stage. At the advanced stage, listening and reading will be taught first, then productive skills will be taught. Like a child first listen to the commands, first listen to the things, and then later coming years, he or she starts to speak. Similarly, in that method, the listening and reading will be taught first, and then productive skills will be expected from the students, because speaking abilities are not expected forcefully by the student that you should speak. No, he will keep on listening, she will keep on listening, and when he or she will get sufficient amount of language and knowledge, then he or she will start to speak his or her target language. Students are not forced to speak until they acquire sufficient skills to use language. At the beginning stage, students are allowed to use their mother tongue. I mean, being a starter, being a beginner, they could use their mother language at the beginning stage, not at the advanced stage, but at the beginning stage, they are allowed to use their language because they don't know sufficient. They haven't got sufficient vocabulary to explain their ideas, and because speaking is delayed till listening is acquired, so students will use their native language till then. We have grammar and tense are not primarily goal like in GTM. So our primary goal is will not going to be like GTM method, like grammar will be taught or the translation will be taught. No, our basic concern is to teach language like the natural language learning. So grammar and tenses are not our primary goal here. Grammar is taught inductively. Grammatical rules will not be told directly, but the students will discover these rules by themselves. Theory of language. So theory of language means how a method sees a language, and this method sees. Asher doesn't talk much about this, but seeing the drills makes us believe that he sees language as a structure and grammar. There is no such work by Asher, the developer of this method, about how he sees language, but the way he made the drills and exercises made us believe, or we can infer, that he sees language as a set of structure and grammar. But the way he teaches it is totally different from the GDM. So keep this point in mind. Next we have theory of language learning. How a method sees how language can be taught. How language can be taught by the method is called theory of language learning. That how language should be taught by the teacher to their students. Asher believed that There exists a specific innate means natural program for language learning which defines an optimal path for first and second language learning. Okay. Asher says that you have the, biologically you are designed to learn language, whether it's your first language or it's your second language. You are biologically designed in a way that you can be able to learn it. The next point he says is brain lateralization defines different learning functions related to left and right hemisphere of the brain. Brain lateralization means your brain is divided into two parts, which is the right part and the left part. You say left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. And both two parts are responsible for different language skills like productive ones and the listening ones, which I will explain in the further slide. The third one is lower the stress and higher the learning. He believes that language should be stress free to higher the learning experience. What is bioprogram, which I discussed here? The biological, innate ability of someone to learn first or second language. Brain and nervous system, okay, are biologically programmed to acquire language in a particular sequence and in particular mode. Okay, Asher says that your brain and your nervous system are biologically programmed to acquire language. So this is clear that you're going to acquire language whether it's your first language or the second one. Okay, in a particular sequence, there would be particular arrangement in which you are going to learn the language and particular mode, in particular way. The sequence is listening before speaking, like first input, then output will be expected, then production will be expected. Okay, and mode, like first the child listen to things, listen to commands, and then later on in the advanced stage he will start to speak, gives the output. And mode is to synchronize language with the individual's body, and mode will be, physical. He is saying in simple words, I can say that your mode will be teaching language through expecting physical movements from your students. So you're like synchronizing, you're joining together the individual's body and the language. Like the physical movement is called individual's body. What is brain lateralization? It's a vast concept. I'm just here to give you the brief point. Right hemisphere is responsible for language acquisition. Okay, there are two parts in your brain, and the right hemisphere is responsible for language acquisition. You just acquire language in that part, and the left hemisphere is for language production, and language is produced from your left hemisphere. And in this method language acquisition is given priority, like your right hemisphere will be activated through this manner, and later on your left hemisphere will get activated and you will start to produce language by your own end as well. So this is how this brain lateralization is associated with a total physical response. No stress and more learning. Asher believes that there should be no stress in the learning, like the child his first language without any stress, and it's a stress-free unconscious process. Method should be stress-free as to improve students learning experience, right? Next, move forward where this method can be preferably used. Like in every method we have preferable situations, and what are the preferable situations for this method is total physical response may be used to teach many types of vocabulary, but works best when teaching vocabulary connected with action. Like we have multiple vocabularies. The most of the time the vocabulary in the form of verbs are the physical, preferable for the physical vocabulary, preferable for the total physical response. For example, wash, okay, take, give, open, close, drive, okay, hand over. These are the vocabulary words that are visible in the total physical response. I mean, you are not supposed to teach the abstract vocabulary, but you're going to teach them the vocabulary that is related with the actions, and that could be shaped in the physical movement, like the words that can be used to give students commands to perform some actions. So such type of vocabulary can be preferably taught, but the other type of complicated vocabulary or the abstract vocabulary, the words that has to be taught in a feeling manner, I mean the words which creates feelings or can be difficult to teach, or the words like this is white, this is red. I mean such words can't be taught in that method, but you say wash your hair, okay, wash your hair, comb your hair, wash your hands, give me that spoon, give, take. I mean such type of vocabulary items can be taught easily, rather than other complicated vocabulary items. Types of physical movements inside the classroom. Wash your hands. I mean, these sentences could be used. These physical movements can be happening in the classroom. Like teacher would say, wash your hands, and making gesture with his hands, like washing. Moving hands, like we wash with the soap, and like we move hands while washing our hands with the soap. Similarly, a teacher would, imitate those gestures, and students would see it and imitate his or her teachers as well. Maria, hand over this towel to John. This is one of the example. The Maria would pick up the towel and hand over to John. Hold this book, holding something. Comb your hair. Comb, meaning of comb would be taught physically. Brush your teeth. Teaching the word brush. Brush your pants. I mean, brushing your teeth would be a little different than brushing your pants. Both brushes are different and they both actions are different. You're not going to brush your teeth with the brush you brush the pants, right? And what would be happening in the advanced stage is Maria pick up the box of the rice, that one command, and give it to Ali, that's the second command, and ask him to read the price in the third command. Things are getting advanced and getting a little difficult for the students. What are the advantages of total physical response? This is very exciting. Young students feel happy to be the part of such classrooms because young students, what they want fun, and this method is all about fun. Running, walking will be taught like that. Running would be taught like when a teacher imitate running, and the students will imitate teacher how he runs, and they will run the same way. An effective method for teaching language as to young students. It's good for young students and it makes them happy. There is no stress in this method. There are no boring drills in the classroom or writing or the speaking pressure, but they're listening like the natural way. So there is no stress in the classroom. Fun, easy, and memorable. This is memorable because when you perform something physically, you never forget it. Good tool for building vocabulary knowledge. For building vocabulary knowledge, this is one of the best methods in language teaching. Helps learner in learning with less time. They require less time in it, not like so much time taking like grammar translation method, and create positive thinking that you can learn language, because the progress would be very better and would be very less time taking. So it creates positive thinking. What are the disadvantages? Issues of embarrassment. This method can't be applicable in the adults because adults they can feel embarrassed while doing such activities like combing hair, like running, or like smiling, or such activities are the source of embarrassment for them. So this method can be failed in such can be failed in such situations. Everything can't be taught with this methodology. Like I told you, the abstract vocabulary or the complicated vocabulary lexical items can't be taught with such physical response method. Suitable for beginners. This method is only suitable for the beginners or the young learners. So that was all today in that methodology, and I hope I worked really hard on it to give all the basic points in that method. And if still something left, everyone no one in this world is perfect. So if you have any queries, any questions, you can ask me in the comment section. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.